Hello and welcome to the Swimrun Show podcast. I'm Mike and we're back. It's been a few weeks since the last podcast. A few races have happened as well. Studland down on the south coast, Gower with Gritty Rascals, Grafham Water as keen as mustard. So yeah, loads of points to be had there. The British Swimrun rankings are tottling up. Check those out if you're interested in that kind of thing. BritishSwimRun.org. There's also all the events are listed there. What else is happening? Loads of races overseas, of course. July, it's a little bit quieter race-wise in July in the UK. Roseland, unfortunately, has been cancelled down in Cornwall due to low numbers. Big shout out to John Yalland, of course, behind the scenes there. And this weekend, though, there is a race, the Wales Swim Run in Pembrokeshire. Forecast, as far as I can tell, is looking reasonable. So that should be a great race. And then on to August, where there's fewer races. All the races are listed at BritishSwimRun.org, so do check them out. So this week's guests, awesome. Piers and Claire Vallance. You will have heard of them if you're a UK racer. They've done the World Champs 9 times between them. So Piers has done it 5 times and Claire 4 times, the Erteleur World Championships, which we'll hear about. That's great to finally get them on. Our calendars haven't been working together well, but we finally got them on. So that's coming up soon. Quite a few questions down at the docks in Liverpool. I've been doing a lot of sessions down there, coaching, and yeah, loads of great questions, and lots of people training for Ironman Leeds this weekend. But you can tell in their eyes they just want to do swim run. They don't want to sit on a bike for 5, 6, 7 hours and then do a marathon. You can see it in their eyes, but they can't break away from this Ironman. But they will. But yeah, questions they had. One was just how do you qualify for Erteleur World Championships? That's pretty simple process now. You get your points from World Series events or qualifier events, and you put them together with a teammate. You can only do it in a team, of course, team of 2. And then you apply around about Christmas time, and then you just get in February sometime. You get told if you've got a place or not. And generally, if you've done all right, in the qualifying races, you should be okay for a place. Then there's the option of a wild card place if you've got some swim run pedigree or a reason why you should be on the start line, and they're confident that you'll finish and it would be a positive experience for everyone. Then you might get in via that route. I had a conundrum this year. Last year, of course, I did a solo experiment and raced at Gower, Clanberis, where I was second in both races behind David Molinario. And then I raced at Uto and Gothenburg, all solo. I was top 10 in both of those. So got some pretty good points from that. However, I didn't have a partner to apply with. So I applied for a wild card with David Molinario based on his experience. The guys over there are happy with that. And we've got a place. So me and David will be racing together. But yeah, it's a good point on the teams. In the UK, I'd say at the moment, the solo category is more popular. There's less teams entering. So that is a little bit of a conundrum. If you do want to qualify for the World Champs, it's definitely worth trying to race in a team for sure. And yeah, consider that. Absolutely consider that. And in Europe, the best races, the most competition is in the teams category, in a lot of the races anyway. Whereas in the UK, it's slightly different, probably slightly skewed towards the solo. However, this week's guests, the traditional kind of mode of racing, Piers and Claire, they are the top performers. There's probably Piers, Claire Vallance, Chris Goodfellow, David Molinario, Alan Scott. They're the top kind of level, and they mix around partners a little bit. Of course, I'm sure there's loads of Ironmen out there and loads of great swimmers and trail runners that haven't quite started swim running yet. But yeah, we will get to you. We will find you. So, what else is happening? Anyway, let's just crack on with the interview. It's, the chat. Claire's and Piers Vallance. Here we go. Okay, so we have Claire and Piers Vallance here. Welcome, Claire and Piers. How are you doing?
Hello.
Hello. Yeah, good. Thank you.
Good. Good to see you. So, if you've probably raced, if you've raced in the UK in swimrun racing and maybe some other races, you probably bumped into Claire and Piers. Maybe they've left you behind in their wake, but a couple of the most experienced swim runners in the UK for sure, and definitely. I mean, when it comes to team category, you guys are out there, mixed, usually mixed together. But I suppose you've probably mixed it up a bit over the years. So lots to talk about. What first of all, this year, 2025. How are you doing? How are things looking this year?
Yeah, things are looking pretty well so far. I mean, we planned in a few sort of key races. Yeah, a couple have been cancelled, which is a shame. But at the same time, yeah, we thought right, we applied for the World Championships back in the last year. I wasn't so sure about that. I've raced five World Championships. Claire's done four. And I had a bit of a bad experience last year, and I got extremely cold, and that put me off. And I thought, I'm kind of done with it. I'm not sure whether I want to go back there and experience that sort of 10 hours of pain. But Claire taught me around, and so yeah, we applied. We had the points, so yeah, we qualified for the World Champs. So that is our key race of the year for 2025, and
Cool.
so we've been building towards that. And then yeah, we sort of then started selecting other races in between to sort of prepare us for that.
I think Piers has perhaps under explained the how bad the World Championships was as last year. I'll go as broad as say it was quite dangerous. And if you've ever read Piers' profile on social media, he rarely posts. And he actually did post about the World Championships because I think it had such a lasting impact on him. But pretty sure he had hypothermia. He doesn't remember much of the race. And anyone knows that Swedish rock is incredibly slippy. It was unusually cold weather conditions last year, the sea temperature and air temperature and rain, and the rocks were perhaps slippier than even slippy. And Piers could barely stand up. I mean, I'm generally Bambi, but it was literally falling over, face planting. He had cuts. It was quite scary, to be perfectly honest. And he kept saying he was going to try and warm up and give me another K and give me another K. And each K tended to get colder and colder. It wasn't until that long run on, we call the island Orno, but I think it's Una or something like that in Swedish, which is just shy of half marathon. And even at the halfway point, you were still a gibbering wreck, basically. And yeah, he just doesn't remember the conversations. It was not a good
Wow.
experience at all.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, well
yeah,
done.
I was in a bad place, but yeah, it came through it still.
Yeah,
Yeah,
stubborn mindset. I'm not
yeah,
sure it was a sensible. But yeah, this year, on the other hand, has been completely different. However, at the beginning of this year, Desi messaged me to say, look, she was doing Gorges de Verdun, and would we go and join and have some fun with them? And I was like, doubt it, 'cause it's not going to fit into school. And I looked at the flights, and you could get to Nice on a Friday night and come back on a Sunday night, which was like perfect. That's brilliant. So I kind of booked us up and told Piers and said, we're going to Gorges de Verdun. We're going to hook up with Desi. We've organised a group transport there, blah, 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 and Sabi too. And Piers was like, Claire, Gorges de Verdun is freezing. Why are we going back to freezing temperatures that we don't do very well in? I was like, oh, it'll be a social, it'll be fine.
Well,
yeah,
yeah. Well, you still did a very good time, even though you couldn't walk and you're falling over in the world champs, like 10:20
It,
something. I mean,
yeah, it
I
yeah.
know
was
you
us.
probably wanted more faster, but um,
Yeah, it was about an hour or so slower than potentially we'd done the year before.
Yeah, you
Um,
have to race the conditions, though,
Conditions, I
don't you?
agree, but
yeah,
we did a
Yeah,
lot of walking.
yeah. It felt slow that year, but yeah, we still did quite a good time. Amazingly,
I don't think we were the only team that struggled either. There were quite a
no,
few. I mean, Lars and Marcus,
yeah,
that they were
yeah,
also not. Well, Lars in particular was having a bad day that year, and we were kind of yo-yoing with them, weren't we?
yeah,
And
definitely.
Marcus was the stronger one pulling Lars.
All even the winning teams, they were down by an hour or so. So comparatively speaking. And then, with Gorges de Verdon, I was like, no, I don't need another cold race. I've seen the social media. Although previous years it was a lot earlier, it's sort of April, May. This was towards the end of May, and actually the water wasn't too bad in the actual lake itself. But I think the mountain river that runs down into the lake was very cold. But still, that was a good sort of warm-up race, shall we say, for the year for us. And we managed to get second place there, so we were happy with that.
In the classic, not in the long.
Yeah,
we did the.
Okay.
And
how long was the classic?
Was it 28k?
Yeah, I think 27k.
Yeah, 27, 28k.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, and did you do that because of less time in the potentially cold, or that's just part of you? That was your plan to do that all the time?
Well, it was our plan. Although when we arrived, the Desi and Sabi in particular, was really giving us a good talking to, telling us we were ridiculous coming all the way to Nice to only do the classic, and we really should be doing the ultra, which obviously sounds tempting at the time, but I work quite long hours and I don't get the training mileage in, and to break myself so early in the season probably wasn't going to be I'm definitely the limiting factor in the team. So Piers was kind of like, okay, well, let's stick with the classic.
It is about that sort of build, really. And if you're racing sort of from May all the way through to September, October, even, there's a lot of races. That's too long to be sort of doing the long stuff and be at your peak. So we're still in a sort of early part of our build phase there. So that was plenty for us. And then we've gone on to do slightly longer as we'll go through the summer.
But beautifully stunning race. I mean, scenic beyond belief. Yeah, but just cold water temperatures. We're on a par with Swedish water temperatures, so nothing.
Yeah.
It's on the list for sure. Another one on the long list of races to do. Brilliant. So you're going to the World. So I know Hokey Cokey, we're probably going to do that as a build. The Roseland, unfortunately being cancelled. But did you do St. Austell? Did you do St. Austell, or did you?
No, we were in Croatia at that point. So we were training a bit in Croatia, weren't we? Running and swimming, because it was half term. So we usually try and get away for that. Although we have done St. Austell before, but it just didn't fit in this year. And then the other UK races we've done so far were As Keen as Mustards, Neen and Grapham and Studland. And because we live down south and fitting it in a weekend, we do need to come up to some of your races because they look quite exciting, fast and furious. And to be honest, our background is fast and furious, isn't it, as opposed to endurance? So that would be, probably more of our strengths, if I'm honest. Particularly mine. When we do fast work, Piers and I run at the same pace. It's only when we do the longer work that Piers kind of diesel engine. It's like, I can't keep up.
I can do, the longer, slower is definitely more me. But as a
I wouldn't pace slow, mine, Piers.
Team, it works together. So, I think doing something of the sort of nature of the survivor or the eliminator, that does work quite well for us.
Cool. You'd be very welcome. It is fun. So you guys, I'm guessing, I know you were at As Keen as Mustard and Studland. I'm guessing you definitely podiumed and probably won. I can't remember now.
Yeah, we did. We were at Studland. We were the aim of Studland, actually. By the time we got to Studland, I think we'd done 4 races in 5 weeks back to back, hadn't we?
Yeah,
and so it got to Studland, and we said, right, we're just going to have a strong race, like a strong training session. Let's not go all out. And then there were some solo men who were kind of pushing us a bit, actually, weren't they? And it was like, are we going to kind of get into this competitive spirit and go for it, or are we going to hold back? Well, it was a bit of a stupid question because Piers is up front and I just have to follow. And
so we had a good,
we had a good tussle. Didn't we?
Had a good race.
It was actually a different experience when you're actually racing with people and having a chat and discussion, and it added another dynamic. It was quite good fun.
Yeah, that's the good thing about swim run. You can just have a bit of a chat as you're racing along, and you get to a hill or whatever. So it just adds a bit of another dynamic to it. But yeah, we did take the overall win in the end. We sort of pushed ahead, managed to get ahead on a couple of long swims, and then took that advantage to the line.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I see you're leading the British rankings in the team category, British swim run rankings. So yeah, good. I'm sure you'll carry on. So are you going to do any more? What have you got planned before the World Champs then?
Well,
Well,
yeah, we ended up with a bit of a hole actually, because normally it would be sort of Roseland, which is a good sort of 6 hour race, which is something that we sort of need as part of our build. And then we were sort of looking at other Otillo races like Gothenburg or Arland, but we're going away on holiday, so it doesn't quite work out with our plans. So we'll end up doing some sort of long races or trail races potentially. We'll try and fit in, and we did actually a long training session last weekend with Alan Scott and Chris Goodfellow. So that sort of did a sort of 4 hour training session with them, which is good. If you've got company, then the time goes by pretty quickly. Otherwise, we probably wouldn't have done that on our own.
no. And I think because Roseland was cancelled, we knew we wanted to get something long in because we didn't have Roseland, and it was quite good fun with company. But I think more so that Chris volunteered, or I didn't give him much choice. But I actually tethered with Chris Goodfellow. And that was absolutely pure bliss in the swims, I have to say. Thoroughly enjoyed being towed by him.
Yeah, I've had that experience too as well, having raced with Chris in the World Championships in 23. And so, actually following in the swim is nice. And you do feel a lot fresher towards the back end of the race. So I sort of had to return the favour when we got to the sort of the final 15K of the World Champs, when I was then sort of towing Chris. It is good when you've got a strong swim partner, and you can really make the most of that draft.
Yeah. Didn't he hurt his shoulder on the final 15?
He did. As we got towards the end, his shoulder tightened up, and then I was leading the swims and the runs just to sort of get us home. But luckily he recovered from that. And
the size of his paddles. I mean, everyone talks swim paddles, don't they? What paddles you're using and what shape, and carbon or plastic, but dinner plates would be an understatement with Chris's paddles. So I think
Yeah. Oh well, let's get into some gear. But before we do, do you vary the lead on the swims yourselves?
Oh, controversial question.
No, we don't, unfortunately. I take the lead on all the swims. Claire's we talk about background really. Claire is more a swimmer, and actually sort of competed and raced national level. Went to Loughborough University and part of their national squad. Whereas my swimming background is not as good. I haven't got the technique. I'm a bit more sort of reliant on power. I played a lot of water polo and things like that at college, which I think helps open water swimming. And so, I sort of lean on Claire for coming up with swim sets and the training side of things. And she'll take the mick out of my stroke, but does help, tows me along and forces me to do all the other strokes.
I do lead all the training.
So leads, and she will beat me in a pool hands down every day of the week. But coming into sort of open water, stick the pool boy on and paddles on me, then definitely that helps me massively. And then I'll take the lead in the swimming and open water swimming. And it does help us as part of a team as well. Means we'll move quicker on land. Claire gets a nice break on the swims. And so unfortunately that just means that I'll be doing the full 10K in front on the World Champs.
Piers is an astronomical runner. I mean, I'm sure Alan and Chris, who've also paired with Piers, will say how strong a runner he is. And you've raced them, in pure running races as well. And running is Piers' bread and butter. When Piers is poorly, he can go for a run and it will not take anything out of him. Whereas me, running is always tiring. So for me to even be able to run with Piers, I need to have a little break on the swims to even try and run at his pace. It is very strong.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's an interesting point. with the temperatures as well, with the world champs last year, where you got so cold, Piers. I mean, it maybe I'm guessing you were running slightly slower than you possibly would have done with Alan Scott potentially. It's just that dynamic, isn't it? Because it happened with Rian and Chris in Uto, where we were worried about the water temperature. So Rian put probably a bit too many layers on, but there's also the fact that Chris would probably be running faster than her, so she'd be running faster with the extra layers. So actually, Rian got overheated in Uto, even though some of the swims were like 8 degrees. So that whole dynamic is really interesting, particularly in the team format.
Yeah, it is. You have got to dress appropriately depending on your partner, and and work out the speed you're going to go at. But yeah, I mean, I clearly underdressed for the Worlds, and
Sorry,
that was.
can you just say that again?
Oh, he's admitted something.
But I was going to say my sleeves did fall down and things like that. So and the weather did change for the worse last minute. But
Yeah.
I have raced 2 world champs previously in a sleeveless wetsuit and been absolutely fine. So yeah, the conditions were pretty bad.
That was a quick justification. Piers did not dress to the conditions at last year's World Championships.
But it's always that conversation before any race. Everyone's going, "What's the water temperature?" And what am I going to wear? Oh, am I going to put on these extra layers? And it's just finding that balance. And some people just get too hot when they're running, and then they'll just have to cab down and carry extra kit. For me, I don't generally overheat. And the same for Claire; she doesn't generally overheat. We perform better if it's a very hot environment.
Okay.
That's fine for us. And this year's London Marathon, people were complaining about the heat, but for me, I did the same time. It didn't affect me at all. We raced.
To be fair, when you raced in Roseland when I was not able to race, you raced with Chris and Alan Scott raced with Tim, and there was a huge head-to-head battle between the two male pairs that were yo-yoing the whole way. And you were struggling in the cold there and getting out the swims, and Chris was having to give you a bit of time just to kind of get your legs, because the nerves weren't firing to the muscles, and that's what happens with you, don't you? And you don't know where your legs are going, and it's not comfortable until you kind of warm up a bit, and it takes a good couple of 100 meters.
It's a good point. If you are going to be the second person in the swim following, you're not going to be keeping us warm necessarily. So you've got to work that into your race strategy. Just if you're following, then you know that you're going to be going a little bit slower, not going to be exerting as much energy, and so you need to just either factor that into what you're wearing. That was a great race when we had that sort of Roseland head to head. Although they had to change the course due to sort of some bad weather. It meant that we were sort of doing sort of a lapped course, that was 4 hours of threshold, full throttle racing, and neither team wanted to budge an inch, that's a completely different sort of race that we've not done before. It's having to sort of hold on and race that hard for a number of hours was it's quite an experience, but great fun. And I think all the lads were quite sort of buzzing afterwards. And even though Chris and I came second on that one, we still really enjoyed it, and then took that as a great experience and took us on to the World Champs. So we had a good one there.
Sometimes in some run races, you do find yourself not really competing against anyone like in your category potentially. But it's great when you are, for sure. So gear, what paddles are you guys rocking?
It's always the big question, isn't it? I think because I'm a swimmer and because Piers is not naturally he's a power swimmer, shall we say, rather than a technique swimmer, we don't use the same kit. It doesn't work for us, does it? Mm-hmm. So Piers has got a pair of large, size medium carbon Evolent paddles, the ones that have got the wings at the bottom.
Yeah.
And I've tried using those, and I really don't like the wings, and my stroke is not, it doesn't work at all. Whereas he is super fast with those wings, faster than when you only had without wings, I would say.
They work for me pretty well, but I don't think I'd go bigger than a medium. My cadence has slowed somewhat using those, about as slow as I want to go. I don't. I did have smaller paddles than those before, but I've built up to them over. It's taken me probably 2 years to get used to them. It's not something that's been a quick change, but they're working well for me at the moment. And Claire has art paddles.
Yeah, I mean, being a swimmer, I just don't like any equipment. I just like to be able to just, I mean, that includes a wetsuit. I prefer to just swim skins, hat and goggles, and I'm in my happy place. And then when you start putting in pull buoys and changing my body position, I feel very high up. So I started off with just a pair of Speedo hand paddles that were literally the size of your handles, because I felt that's where I could just get my cadence through. And it took me, I mean, I must have done 3 world championships with those tiny little paddles. But then I did upgrade to a pair of plastic arc paddles, the traditional, just the round shape ones. And then up until last year, I was still using the small version of those. And I'm now in the medium. And I'm not going to lie, it has made a difference, because I can now swim at Piers' speed with medium, but with the smaller ones, the power that you generate from the paddles is too much. I just couldn't keep up. But the mediums are good for me because when you're swimming behind, you get the draft effect. And it does take practice. It's like when you ride a bike and everyone says, oh, get in the draft zone. And it's not until you kind of are used to it and are not like stressing and can actually be comfort and feel the benefit that you get it. And it's the same in swim run. Once you're in that draft zone, you realise that it is a lot easier. So I don't need any bigger paddles when I'm following Piers. If I wasn't following Piers, I probably would need bigger paddles.
Yeah, okay. I think it's good. It lowers your heart rate as well, doesn't it? Than having the paddles, so you get a bit more of a recovery. You're not exerting as much. But both of us were new to paddles, hadn't trained with them really until we started swim run. It's same for anyone really out there. Don't worry. Don't have to have the biggest paddles to start with. We both started with small paddles or medium-sized paddles, and we've just gone up to there. And then pull buoy wise, again, that's different. I need more buoyancy, got heavy legs, sinky legs. I'm racing with the Keel Plus or the Swim Runners Piranha one, which is the older version. That works for me. Going for sort of, I haven't tried the Mega. That sounds almost too big. It could be worth a try in the future. I do feel that with a large pull buoy, you do end up with a bit of a U-shaped back. You can put your hips quite high in the water, and if you're sighting to look over waves as well, and you've got a big pull buoy, could give you some backache if you're going to be doing, if you've got too strong a pull and underneath that's pulling your legs. Claire's got the new
pull buoy, which is just a bit bigger than your standard swim pull buoy, which is good enough for me. Yeah, it doesn't give me any back issues, but I swim quite high up on the water, so I don't need much more buoyancy, whereas Piers is very sinky.
Maybe the help I can get.
The Keel Mega I tried it, and it is a big fella. I know Chris Goodfellow was trying to convince me that everyone should have a Keel Mega. It doesn't matter how tall you are, but it's a big piece of kit, isn't it? I've moved up to the Keel Plus, which is big enough, I think, for sure. So and on the feet, what we're looking at, does it probably depends. What world champs, what do you think you'll wear on your feet this year?
Well, I started off wearing Solomon Speed Crosses, and because they were super comfy, but they were probably one of the worst trainers I've ever worn for slippiness and rocks. Then I moved to a pair of Innovates, I think 212s, and I finished the Worlds with wearing those, and I enjoyed them. They were good, but they didn't have a rock plate in them, and my feet were bruised at the end of that race. And then we moved to VJs. We started off in the XTRMs and absolutely adored them. We both wore those. And then we've moved to the Max 2s, which I like even more. And I will wear the Max 2s this year at the World Champs. But I don't know. Will you do the ultras?
Yeah, I've just been trying out the VJ Sports shoes, Ultra threes, and yeah, they seem. I raced in them at Neen, and yeah, they seem pretty good. Just slightly more grip, I think, slightly longer lugs, similar to the Max twos, and a bit more space around the toes.
Yeah,
So
they've all got roomy toe boxes, haven't they?
yeah,
Except the light speeds, they're very narrow in comparison.
Okay.
yeah. So I'm
Yeah.
probably going to go for the Ultra Thieves, I think. But yeah, I'll give them a bit more of a test over the next month or so. But yeah, that's my likely choice. And yeah, we both like the VJs, and they're decent grip on the slippery rock in Sweden. So yeah, we've had good success with those.
Good stuff. Good stuff. And what do you, what do you think of the with Roseland being cancelled and Clanberis not happening this year? How do you think the state and other races growing? Gritty Rascals have taken on some of the Brecker legacy, and how do you think the state of swim run is in the UK in terms of participation numbers and all that carry on?
Yeah, it's a difficult one at the moment because yeah, there does seem like there's been a few cancellations this year, like you say. But there at the same time, there's other races that have done a lot better in numbers, and I think yeah, it is hard. It's about trying to grow the sport. We want people to know about it, and there are if some races are still managing to get new people, then there
Yeah.
are that fresh sort of swim run people out there to come in. But it's how you go about it, and it's difficult with the longer races. Then that is the true essence of swim run, having those sort of longer one way races, but it doesn't appeal to the newbies, and yeah, it's very daunting. And so I think, do we need more of the shorter style races just to get the people in through the door, like your 5K, your 10Ks, and so forth, which I know for as keen as mustard, they are the sort of the most popular distances are the 10Ks. So yeah, I think if there are the long courses, maybe there's a need for some short ones within that, just to get the people along, so that they don't cancel. But for us, yeah, we love the long distance races and the one way courses. So yeah, it'd be a shame to lose those. So yeah, we try and support all the races we can. But yeah, it's a bit of a difficult one this year.
I think the sport is so new, isn't it? And it's growing really fast, particularly in Europe, in France, in Sweden, in America. And I think it's almost grown too fast, so that potentially there are too many races in the UK, and there's such a short summer window. That I think there's too many races and perhaps not enough races to fill them. And of course, then all the races numbers are kind of maybe dipping. And I think Piers is right. When you look at the triathletes, the biggest fear of triathletes is the open water swimming, isn't it? And when you put that into swim run, when you've got quite a lot of open water swimming, and some of the swims are quite long in relation to triathlon distances, I think there is that confidence that within swim run that needs building. And I think once people realise that it's okay, I think as as keen as muscles have seen, people have moved up the race distances as confidence grows, and perhaps the shorter races and might build that confidence.
Yeah. Yeah. When did you? Yeah, it's a good point. When did you guys start? What was your first race? The old swim run.
We were scratching our heads. I think 2017 was actually our first race. I think initially it all started. We went away on holiday. We literally had a bank holiday weekend in May. We went and we got some sort of last minute tickets and went over to Stockholm. And then we decided to go to the coast. And then one thing led to another, and we were chatting to a local about a race going on the island of Urtu. So we took the ferry over and went and watched this race. And this race was the World Series swim run. And we're like, this is amazing. This looks brilliant. Didn't take part. This was just purely as us on holiday on a long weekend, but saw it and thought, yeah, I think we should have a go at this. And so came back and looked up a race that we could do in the UK. there weren't really any. Great Swim had an event on. Yeah, so and I think it was at Alton Water. So we entered that. And then usual thing of just sort of cobbling together our usual swimming pool boy and managed to get a pair of paddles off eBay. And then, off we went. And that race, we had a good tussle. And it was with Luke Whitwell,
Jack Carpenter,
Carpenter,
Spartan athletes.
who were great runners. We were better in the swim, and so we're catching on the swim. And then we ended up crossing the line at the same time as this other team.
Wow!
And so they gave a joint win. It was both teams were absolutely elated, and we were just like, "This is such a good race." And then we were like, "Right, we're going to do this. We're going to come back and do this again properly next year." And then we found about Attillo. And we started entering the sprints. And as Claire said earlier, that's our sort of background, was sprint racing and triathlon or Olympic distance. So we just got the bug, and we entered sort of nearly all the races in Attillo, went round doing the sprint races. And so we were leading the sprint championship. I think we went to back to Urtu to do the sprint there. Michael Lemmel saw us there, sort of crossing in second place, just behind the men's team, who were a local Swede team. So knew all the sort of the rocks and the ins and outs and all the shortcuts. So he saw that we'd done pretty well. Went out to the Isles of Scilly, and he was just like, "You're going to win this," and we were like, we didn't really know ourselves, but he knew better. And from there, we were like, that long distance, the World Series, that just seems too long. Like we've already spoken about, it just seems mammoth, beyond our normal realms. We enjoy the sprints. We like sort of going fast and the quick transitions. But then we did eye up the World Championships. Like, no, that doesn't seem possible.
I didn't.
Yeah, I sort of looked at it and thought, well, it's I'd read about it in an article and thought that just sounds amazing, but I don't think that's possible. Just not gonna be doable for us. And then I think we did apply for through the director's choice. We didn't get a place, but then someone dropped out, and then Michael messaged us. Michael Lemmel said, it's there. The place is yours if you want it. We then had a place at the World Champs in 2019. And so then that season was all about sort of building up for that. And we started to race the longer distances in 2019 and get our first experience of doing that.
That was a big confidence for me, because up to that point, I'd never even run a half marathon. To go from sprints to World Championships was a huge leap.
Yeah. How much notice did you have from Michael on that one?
I think it was. It would have been probably springtime, wouldn't it?
I think it's similar. So you find out about February time, and then the race is in first Monday in September.
Yeah, so we still had time. We still had the sort of the summer season to prepare for it, and then back in the day, that was when there was still Brecca. So we did the Brecca Buttermere probably only about a month before the World Champs, and we won the mixed team there when it was the national championships, that gave us a good sort of springboard onto the World Champs.
Yeah, that was a tough race, that Buttermere.
Yeah.
Got a lot of height gain. Brilliant! So that's kind of, hopefully that's inspiring to listeners who are short courses, if you like, because as you did loads of sprints, distances, and were dawn, but you've done really well in the World Champs, 5 World Champs, really good times, every single one. Yeah, so that you can bridge that gap, which hopefully will inspire some people, for sure. And you can split it up, can't you? Some swimrun races into almost 3, like the World Champs, 3 different races in a way, especially, obviously with the Orno 18K run, and then the final 15, the start. You can break it up, and as long as you keep eating and you're not too cold, you can struggle through.
I think it's okay to mindset wise. I mean, 18K, I don't know, I haven't even worked out how much, although we do quite a bit of walking. We're not going to lie, there is quite a bit of walking. And actually, the teams that have been behind us at that point, because you're generally racing the same, are quite shocked. They stay at their kind of steady pace, their running pace, and we're probably quicker than them because our steady running pace is faster because we're in our natural rhythm. And then we take our little mini walking breaks and then we get back into our rhythm rather than getting into the marathon shuffle type. And that kind of run walk strategy works quite well for us, doesn't it?
Yeah, that works. You get in the recovery.
It lowers the heart rate just for those few seconds and before you're off again.
Yeah, I think that's what a lot of people don't realise. Once you're going into sort of the long course ones, the World Series distance, anything over 30K, you're going into sort of ultra territory. So ultra runners are always hiking, aren't they? They're taking their breaks to be able to do the longer distance. You need that, and I think that's something that people don't realise straight away. It's just like, oh, you've got to be running flat out for the whole thing. But no, on the exits of swims, you'll take a couple of strides, just sort of walk up the slope, and just get yourself ready for the next phase. And again, if it's a long run, just break it up and have those breaks. Take a slightly longer break at a checkpoint, and feed up. It's doable.
It's interesting you said that though, because sometimes, quite frequently in the cold swims, because I've been horizontal and perhaps not been, heart rate, blood pumping, I don't know. But when I come out of those swims and stand up, particularly if it's cold, I am really dizzy. And actually to be running, I actually need to kind of take a few steps just to gain my composure. Not so fun when it's the rocky bits.
No. And sometimes your legs, my legs, sometimes if it's cold particularly, it just takes a while to start moving quicker. You're trying to run and you're just not. You're walking.
Yeah.
Okay, well, and it's not. I mean, it used to be. It's quite clear now. The world champs with qualification points apply, and then there's some. Inevitably there are wild card, what they call now wild card, director's choice or whatever. So it's not something that's not achievable if you've got some pedigree, I suppose. It'd be good to get more British teams out there, for sure.
I must admit, it is. I mean, one of the best things about swimrun is, you're enjoying the outdoors, and it's not running laps and aiming for a cone or a pace or power output. That goes all out the window, and you're just enjoying the experience for the experience. But the people that have kind of come into swimrun, the relationships that you build are, really special. And you see the same people, and the people we've met over the years and are still really good friends with. It's really quite, that's one of the biggest things I appreciate about swimrun.
Yeah, definitely the community, and it is a big win. And I think people have that similar sort of outlook, that they're there for the enjoyment and the experience. Definitely, like you said though,
because you're racing with David, is that right?
Yes, yeah.
And he is a legend. He's a great fan as well, and Julia.
Yeah. That's the thing is, if you get a place of the chance, then I would apply, for the world champs. It's achievable for everyone. And even if a wild card, just try it, put in for it, and see. You never know. It's worth going for it.
Yeah, it's a unique experience for sure, and that whole island to island thing, which we don't quite have in the UK. Maybe Scotland. I think there's potential for more. I know with Scotland has tried various, but it's hard. Yeah, it's getting people there, but there's definitely some island to island stuff going on up there. But the weather, I've talked a bit about Scotland in the past, but you can be cancelling races, I suppose. Did you ever race up there in Scotland?
No.
Unfortunately, as far north as Buttermere, that was it.
Yeah, some of our friends did. I remember Andy Bruce went up and said he did the Loch Lomond one, and said it was absolutely beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Coniston as well, but not further north than that. Unfortunately.
Yeah, and in terms of solo, you've done a few solos. You've done the Survivor. Have you both done? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I haven't done the Survivor.
I mean, no. Right.
No, I'm usually I'm a bit fragile. So after the World Championships, my body's a little bit battered and broken, generally because of lack of training mileage. So the Survivor is just one too many. So I generally marshal at it,
Oh, good. Yeah.
and you race.
Yeah. But
Have you ever?
yeah, enjoyable. I did the first incarnation of Survivor and I won that one. And then last year there was a good battle between Chris, Alan, David, and myself, and Survivor. So it was it's a good one to do. But I'd like to try and come and do the eliminator as well.
Cool. It's quite soon after the World Champs. It's a Saturday, the Liverpool one. The Wales, Abu Dhabi is 2 Saturdays after World Champs. It's going to be an interesting
You've got a
September.
busy September.
Yeah, I know. It's
daunting.
daunting. It's daunting. Yeah. Got one more to race about out there. Then the World Champs with David. Then lots of races I'm organising. So it's going to be interesting. Yeah. So and Claire, so you've never raced solo?
Have I ever raced solo?
Not in
Yes, no, I have raced solo. I raced solo because I was racing with Martin Brunt. Do you remember in Box End? There was a swim run in Box End, and I think he's super quick run around swimmer, and we had a bit of a head to head and through the whole of that race. So I do enjoy it. You know, you can't not enjoy swim run, but I'm not going to lie, I do prefer the team aspect.
Yeah.
If you've got the right team member.
Yeah,
it was perfect. I think for couples, it's brilliant. If you're both into sport, and you know, it's so good. Like there's you guys, there's Julia and David, Bill and Chrissy, of course. It's great.
Oh, Bill and Chrissy, they're the legends of swim run. And you know, if there was age categories or it was kind of age appropriate, you know, prorated or whatever, they are just super strong.
Yeah, the legends, absolute legends.
Yeah, they are. And just before we go, have you got any other? Because I like to touch on other sports because I'm trying to get those guys to come into swim run. Have you got? Do you still race like you did the London Marathon, didn't you, Piers? But do you still do other races like that?
So I mean, only sort of trail races, trail running races is kind of what I sort of dip into now. And so I'll pick out some road running maybe or a target race for the springtime just to get me through the winter, something to aim for, and to sort of help build the running up. And then after that, then sort of the swimming sort of takes over. I'll do a bit more swimming and less running. But from our backgrounds, we were age group triathlon. Traveled around doing the sort of the world age group championships. And then we sort of had enough of that. Then we moved on to swim run. We haven't been back to triathlon, I think. Don't recall actually having done it.
There's no way I'd go back. If I had a choice with triathlon and swim run would win every time.
Yeah. So, but it is possible to balance both. I think the first season, I was still sort of dabbling a little bit in triathlon. You can still do it. You're getting the sort of the endurance on the bike. It's just down to your time, really, whether you've got the time to train for both. But I still own a couple of bikes, so and I'll probably get out on it and on holiday. But that'll be it for the year, probably.
Well, you're just fully committed now to swim run. That's it.
I wouldn't. Swimming is my bread and butter. So I would always do a swim race, and because Piers does trail races abroad, generally I follow, but in the smaller races. So he'll do the UTMB Trail de Haute Forts, crazy 50-kilometre over 4,000 metres of climbing, and I might do the 25-kilometre version.
Cool. Yeah, good stuff. Okay, well, it's been great to have you on, guys. We've been trying to get this sorted for a while. It's finally great to have you guys on. Two of the most experienced swim runners in the UK, and good luck with your training, whatever it entails, and see you in
August
on Sandam or somewhere in Sweden. Yeah,
definitely.
And, see you there.
Yeah, cool, guys. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much.
Bye.
There we go. Claire and Piers Vallance. What a team. Great to be racing with your life partner as well. That is a cool thing about swimrun. And who knows, you might even meet your life partner at a swimrun. I'm pretty sure that's happened a few times. So what else? Yeah, good points on the paddles there. With the, start, build slow. I think we've mentioned this loads, and anyone who knows about swimrun will tell you to build slow with the paddles. Start my journey from racing without paddles to the Speedo Tech paddle, which is a little bit bigger than your hand, really comfortable, little curve, really comfy. If you just want to first try paddles, those kind of paddles are great. Then I went to the TYR Catalyst, which were a bit more powerful, stiff, flat, bigger than my hand, great paddle. Don't make them anymore, but they're really good ones. And then a few years later, I tried the carbon. Tried a couple of carbons, but yeah, Evolvent carbon paddles are my favourite for sure. But yeah, that was, what was that? 11 years to build to a carbon paddle. You don't have to take 11 years, of course. You can accelerate your learning. You could probably do it within from nothing to carbon, big carbon. You could go in 2 years, but you don't have to get. You can get smaller carbon paddles. So it's not. Don't think carbon means big. It just at the moment means the biggest you can get are made of carbon, as far as I know. But there are options to go small carbon. So yeah, but yeah, start build. Remember they're not expensive, the plastic paddles either. I think you can get them probably for £10, between 10 and 20, varying sizes, etc. You can borrow a pair from a swim club, tri club, or a friend or whatever. I borrowed my first pair from Kev Hamilton. Big shout out to Kev. I'm pretty sure he won't be listening. But Kev of Kerrist Triathlon down in Mid Wales. Yeah, so that's that. Build with the paddles. Pull buoy, you don't have to build as much. You can go straight for a keel standard. It's when you go above that size that some people have a little possibly problems, especially if you're smaller. So yeah, pull buoy, the keel kind of original is probably works for you. I had a question on that recently in Liverpool. Another question. Oh, we have the Pentathlon GB squad juniors training in Liverpool on Saturday. They've got a world qualifying event in Weymouth. Good luck, guys. I was talking to them about swimrun because they were doing biathlon training at the time, which is a swim run, really short distances. Great transitions, great diving going on. And one of the questions I had from a young lad was, can you carry your shoes in your hands during the swim? Because he didn't want to swim with his shoes on. That would be interesting. You can do that if you want to. Probably best not to in terms of speed. But yeah, it's those. I love the questions that swimrun throws up when you've never heard of it. And you can do whatever you like, whatever you think is fastest. There's not that many rules. You'll probably find it's quicker to swim with your shoes on than take them off and hold them in your hands. I know there was one. The couple of people used to put them actually down the back of the wetsuit. Yeah, but it's just the taking on and off. If you've got a pull buoy, and then if you build up to a pair of paddles that work for you, you'll end up swimming. Most people will end up swimming a lot faster in that mode with shoes on, pull buoy and paddles. You'll build up to swimming faster than with no shoes and no gear. I'd say 99% of people will anyway. Definitely the swim runners I know. So yeah, that's it. What else? This weekend, there's also Dovey Aquathlon. I know there's a couple of swim runners doing that one. It's a long swim and a long run. Not too long run, actually. 13K swim, 13K run. Tide assisted swim, which makes it about 8K in reality. And then there's obviously one water race. Team GB will be there. And then the world champs. And then the eliminator in Liverpool, excuse me. Places are selling fast, so secure your place as soon as you can. That's on the 6th of September. Then we have the eliminator in Abu Dhabi on the 13th of September. Check that one out. That is an awesome course. And yeah, and there's loads of races coming up after that. Coniston, the Survivor, Skinner's Mustard. August, you've got Isles of Scilly, you've got Jersey, you've got a few others. Check them all out, britishswimrun.org. So yeah, good, happy racing team, and see you out there.